So class, today we are going to start our next new chapter, that is chapter number 8, Winds, Storms and Cyclones. So as you can see class, Orissa was hit by a cyclone with wind speed of 200 kilometers per hour on 18th October 1999. The cyclone smashed 45,000 houses, making 7 lakh people homeless. On 29th October of the same year, a second cyclone with a wind speed of 260 km per hour hit Orissa again. It was accompanied by water waves of about 9 meters high. Thousands of people lost their lives. Property worth crores of rupees was destroyed. The cyclone affected agriculture, transport, communication, and electricity supply. But what are cyclones? How are they formed? Why are they so destructive? In this chapter, we shall seek answers to some of these questions. So, class, the moving air is known as wind. Our first topic is air exerts pressure. So, we all know that air exerts pressure, and it is due to this pressure that the leaves of trees, banners, or flags flutter when the wind is blowing. Coming to the next point, that is high speed winds are accompanied by reduced air pressure. We see that increased wind speed is indeed accompanied by a reduced air pressure, and air moves from the region where the air pressure is high to the region where the air pressure is low. Now air has one more characteristic, that on heating it expands. So we can say that it is also important to remember that on heating the air expands and occupies more space. When the same thing occupies more space, it becomes lighter. So the warm air is lighter than the cooled air. That is the reason that the smoke always goes up. In nature, there are several situations where warm air rises at a place, the air pressure at that place is lowered. The cold air from the surrounding areas rushes in to fill its place. This sets up convection in air. Now coming to the next topic class, that is wind currents are generated due to uneven heating on the earth. So there are some situations here we will look on. Number one is uneven heating between the equator and the poles. You might have learnt in geography that regions close to the equator get maximum heat from the sun. The air in these regions get warm. The warm air rises and the cooler air from the regions in the 0 to 30 degree latitude belt on either of the equators move in. The wind blow from the north and the south toward the equator. At the poles, the air is colder than that of the latitudes about 60 degrees. The warm air at these latitudes rise up, and the cold wind from the polar region rushes in to take the place. In this way, wind circulation is set up from the poles to the warmer latitudes as shown in the figure 8.8. The winds would have flown in the north-south direction from north to south or from south to north. A change in the direction is however caused by the rotation of the earth. Now coming to the second topic class, that is uneven heating of the land and water. So you have read about the sea breeze and the land breeze in chapter 4. In summer, near the equator, the land warms up faster, and most of the time the temperature of the land is higher than that of the water in the oceans. The air over the land gets heated and rises. This causes the wind to flow from the oceans toward the land. These are monsoon winds. In winter, the direction of the wind flow gets reversed. It flows from land to the ocean. The wind from the ocean carry water and bring rain. It is a part of the water cycle. The monsoon winds carry water and it rains. Clouds bring rain and give us happiness. Farmers in our country depend mainly on the rains for their harvest. There are many folk songs associated with clouds and rain. But class, however, it is not always a happy ending. Rain often creates problems. For example, in nature itself, there are certain situations that can sometimes create disasters and pose threats to humans, animals, and plant life. So, now let us study two situations. One is thunderstorm and the second one is cyclone. So, thunderstorm develop in hot, humid tropical areas like India very frequently. The rising temperature produces strong upward rising winds. These winds carry water droplets upwards where they freeze and fall down again. The swift movement of the falling water droplets along with the rising air create lightning and sound. It is this event that we call a thunderstorm. Now the next topic is class, how a thunderstorm becomes a cyclone. You know that the water requires heat when it changes from liquid to vapor state. Does the water give back the heat when vapor condenses into liquid? Can you recall any experience to support this? Before the cloud formation, water take up heat from the atmosphere to change into vapor. When water vapor changes back into the liquid form as raindrops, this heat is released to the atmosphere. The heat released to the atmosphere warms the air around. The air tends to rise and cause a drop in pressure. More air rushes to the center of the storm. This cycle is repeated. The chain of events end with the formation of a very low pressure system with very high speed winds revolving around it. It is this weather condition that we called a cyclone. Factors like wind speed, wind direction, temperature, and humidity contribute to the development of cyclones. So class, as you can see, there are some pictures regarding the formation of cyclone here. Now coming to the next topic, that is destruction caused by the cyclones. Now cyclones can be very destructive. Strong winds push water downward to the shore even if the storm is hundreds of kilometers away. These are the first indications of an approaching cyclone. The water waves produced by the wind are so powerful that a person cannot overcome them. The low pressure in the eye lifts water surface in the center. The rising water may be as high as 3 to 12 meters. It appears like a water wall moving toward the shore. As a result, the seawater enters the low-lying coastal areas, causing severe loss of life and property. It also reduces the fertility of the soil. Continuous heavy rainfall may further worsen the flood situation. High-speed winds accompanying a cyclone can damage houses, telephones, and other communication systems, trees, etc., causing tremendous loss of life and property. Now we have one more thing related to cyclone class, that is tornadoes. In our country, they are not very frequent. A tornado is a dark funnel-shaped cloud that reaches from the sky to the ground. Most of the tornadoes are weak. A violent tornado can travel at speed of about 300 kilometers per hour. Tornadoes may form within the cyclone. The whole coastline of India is vulnerable to cyclones, particularly the east coast. The west coast of the India is less vulnerable to the cyclonic storms, both in terms of intensity and the frequency of the cyclones. Now coming to the next topic class, that is effective safety measures. So first one is a cyclone forecast and warning service should be there. Second is rapid communication of warnings to the government agencies, the ports, fishermen's ships, and to the general public. Now third one is construction of cyclone shelters in the cyclone prone areas and administrative arrangements for moving people fast to the safer place. Now coming to the next topic class, that is action on the part of the people. First is we should not ignore the warnings issued by the meteorological department through TV, radio or newspaper. Second point is we should make necessary arrangements to shift the essential household goods, domestic animals and vehicles etc. to safer places. Avoid driving on roads through standing water as floods may have damaged the road, and keep ready the phone numbers of all the emergency services like police, fire brigade and medical centers. Now there are some other precautions if you are staying in a cyclone hit area. Do not drink water that could be contaminated. Always store drinking water for emergencies. Do not touch wet switches and fallen power lines. Do not go out just for the sake of fun. Do not pressurize the rescue force by making undue demands. Cooperate and help your neighbors and friends. Now how we are going to tackle this cyclone problem, we have one more topic here, that is advanced technology has helped. So these days we are better protected. In the early part of the last century, coastal residents may have had less than a day to prepare or evacuate their homes from an oncoming cyclone. The world today is very different. Thanks to satellite and radars, a cyclone alert or cyclone watch is issued 48 hours in advance of any expected storm, and a cyclone warning is issued 24 hours in advance. The message is broadcast every hour or half hour when a cyclone is nearer the coast. Several national and international organizations cooperate to monitor the cyclone-related disasters. So class, that was about this whole chapter. I hope that all of you have understood it well. That's all today's class. Thank you class.